And so it's so funny because I've also heard that all of the reasons why you fall in love with somebody in the beginning end up becoming the reasons why you resent them in the future. And so I kind of let my own selfishness and ego get the best of me, and I thought the grass was greener on the other side. And so we ended up filing for divorce in late 2018. The divorce was finalized on June 13th, 2019. And, you know, to be quite honest, it was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to her, myself, and my business.
Hey guys, this is Jeremy here. Welcome to the Thrive and Vibe. Hope you guys really are thriving and vibing today and enjoyed the last episode, which is episode 19 with Kayla Delati. And there was like a lot of great, interesting funs there, a lot of laughs about like what type of guy that she actually wants. But for today's episode, I had the privilege of actually getting a guy here, finally, instead of all the female guests that I've been having. And he's not just any guy. He is the guy, bro. Like, seriously, he's an entrepreneur, a CEO, a founder, a father of three, a philanthropist, and Houston's most eligible bachelor. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Jenson. Jeremy, how's it going?
What's up, man? We finally made it happen.
I know, for like, what, a good 2 months or so?
Yeah, he dragged me out on a Friday night at 7 p.m. I said, what are we doing after? He said, this is it, dude. This is it.
It is absolutely. Hey, but I actually made you a banana bread, man.
There we go.
I baked you a banana bread, like homemade, all types of love that you would get, you know.
Excellent. I didn't know you were a baker.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm a master baker.
There we go.
Absolutely. But anyhow, you've heard about the Thrive and Vibe. You've seen all the episodes, all the reels, and how we kind of go about this. Like I ask all my guests like how they thrive and vibe in life. But to start things off here, like tell us like who you are. I already know a good chunk of who you are, but for our viewers and listener, who you really are.
Yeah, so Jeremy Jenson, I'm 39 years old.
39?
I was married for 10 years. I've been divorced for the last 4.
Okay.
I'm a father of 3. I own a 40-person executive search firm here in Houston, and I like to thrive and I like to vibe. That's who I am.
No, that's actually pretty awesome. And I didn't know you don't look 39, bro. You look like you could probably pull off like 32, 33.
Well, then what are you? Because you look 32.
I am 31, to be more exact than that.
When I met you 2 years ago, you didn't have that gray coming in right there. That's new.
Yeah, no. The grays, I think it's a lot of wisdom and probably a good amount of stress, having this Thrive and Vibe podcast. But hey, man, like, it comes and goes or whatsoever. And that's why I got a new haircut just to kind of like, be ready for this amazing episode with you, Jeremy.
Excellent. Let's go deep. Ask me some good questions.
All right. So we go with the Thrive here, but tell us more about like with Encore search partner, like how did that actually came about? Like, did recruiting or executive recruiting became part of your career before, or were you a complete different professional before founding your company?
Yeah, that's a great question. So whenever I was 25 years old,
25, okay.
I was engaged to a petroleum engineer. And she made $100,000 a year. And at the time I was making about 60, right?
Yeah.
And this is like 2009 numbers. So with inflation, it would be more, right?
But, oh, yeah. Wow. A year after the recession.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was working for an HR consulting firm. And I ended up popping the question and became engaged to this petroleum engineer. And it sunk in that she made more money than me. And I'm half Mexican. And for whatever reason, that didn't sit right with me. And so
you want to feel like very machismo, or you want to be truly a man of the family.
Yeah, I wanted to be the provider of the family. And so I came up with the idea of starting my own firm. And my first firm was called Market Share Solutions. We were an email marketing and lead generation company. And
okay,
started that business in 2010 and ended up getting married later that year. And so I remember being at my wedding and my mother-in-law was sitting at the table and she was just fucking roasting me, dude, because her baby girl was marrying an unemployed guy in her eyes. She didn't see
because you were being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And so she was poking holes in my business plan and, wasn't really optimistic that I was going to be successful.
Damn.
And so fortunately in that first year, I think I made 80 grand, you know, and
That's actually pretty good.
yeah, I mean, it's not bad
And
because
then
I was
just only
25 years old, right?
You were a one-man show, right?
One-man show, yeah. You got to be a one-man show at the beginning, dude.
Gotcha,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can't afford to go throw in all this overhead.
Unless
right?
you have a huge capital or get a lot of investors. So
Maybe.
I'm being in a one-man show here right now. Thriving by podcast.
Absolutely. And so I started the business. Second year, I made about 212. Third year, 297. And then it kind of snowballed from there, man. You know, it was my third year in business. I took a look at my client base. I was running out of bandwidth. I was having difficulty scaling,
Yeah.
right? Just like maybe like a real estate agent would, or some type of a solo entrepreneur. You get to that 250, 300K mark, and it becomes very difficult to scale past
Wait,
that.
so let me get this straight. So you like 2009 you founded and you were your one-man show, and then by when did you start actually employing of hiring your first employee?
Yeah, so it really wasn't until 2010, 2011 rather.
So you were on your own for 2
Yeah,
years.
2 years. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Man, that gives me a little bandwidth
Well,
if I want to think of hiring
Well,
employees.
you know, if you want to make $200,000-$300,000, you got to wait until you get there, and then you got to carve out, you know, 50, 60,000. That's probably what it costs in order to make your first hire on somebody
Yeah.
that's going to support you, right? And so I looked at my client base, and I was having difficulty scaling past 300K. And I realized that, man, about half of my clients were staffing and recruiting companies. Remember, I owned an email marketing lead generation business. And I'm sitting here charging these guys $3,000, $4,000 a month. And then those recruiting companies were making $50,000, $60,000,
Wow, that's
sometimes
more
$100,000.
than 10x.
Absolutely. And so then I said, why the fuck am I making them rich? Let me start a recruiting company. And so we started recruiting in 2013.
Got it. Yeah.
It's funny. The guy that started it with me, he's my IT director. He's still with me today. His name's Larry Sanders.
I think I saw him. I saw he's wearing glasses, and
Absolutely.
he was like your high school friend kind of thing.
Absolutely. He was a buddy from high school. Yeah.
That's totally awesome.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how you guys kind of keep in contact and really
Well,
become
really,
like,
it was Facebook, right? And so he
Good old Facebook.
Yeah, he saw me flashing, you know, the money and the cars and the Rolexes, and you know, whenever it was time for him to explore for a new opportunity, he DM'd me on Facebook and said, "Hey, man, do you need somebody with my skill set?" And so it's just funny how social media can really lead to meaningful results whenever it comes to relationships or career.
yeah, if used properly. And for those of you guys that are actually wondering, how did me and Jeremy met? Well, I'll try to do a long story short. It all started with a DM in Instagram in February 2022. You were
21.
21?
Yeah, 21.
God
Yeah.
damn. Okay. Well, 21. Yeah, you DM'd me, and I was very skeptical. I was like, "Who the hell is
Well,
this
let me
guy?"
tell you. So I was throwing, so it had to have been in January. I was throwing a single soiree.
Yeah.
I'd thrown one in 2020, and then I was throwing another one in 2021. And my suit guy, Adam Ross,
Yep.
he knew about the party, and he said, "Man, I just met this kid. He's sharp. He's a hustler. He's good looking. He's
And
a
that's
smooth
me.
talker." He said his name's Zamry. And so, I hit you up because Adam referred you, right? It was
Wow.
funny because I'm one of the few guys in Houston that when I throw a party, it's like 80% girls, and so I'm always looking for guys.
Yeah,
be
you want to
quite
balance
honest.
that ratio out.
You got to, man. That's how you keep the girls coming. But anyways, you were able to make it out. We had you, and I think it was a fun party, to be quite honest.
It was absolutely a fun party.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you very much, Adam. I literally thought it was the hashtags. I thought it was just me being my own content creator, but
Nope. Nope.
all because of Adam. Thank you, Adam. That's crazy.
I actually had Adam at my house today.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
So he uses a digital marketing firm, a guy by the
JC.
name of JC Zerbino. And yeah, they about once a year they make a commercial with me in order to promote on social media. And so last year when I did the commercial, I was about 280 pounds, and then this year I'm about 210. So it's going to be pretty cool once the commercial is cut.
Oh man, the big like transformation. I love that, man.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see how it comes out.
Man, well, and of course, for you guys who are wondering why we dress so sharp, this is promoting Adam Ross. Adam, the suit boss, we are representing you. You've made amazing suits, and you're not just making amazing suit, you're an amazing person, amazing husband, and also going to be an amazing father. He's expecting pretty soon.
Absolutely, absolutely. Were you trying to get him to sponsor you? Is that why you're giving him the shout out? Look at you. Yeah.
No, I've been Adam's client. Like, yes, it would be a great sponsor, but I've been Adam's client since 2015.
Okay.
If it weren't for him,
back in his Balani days.
exactly.
There you go.
Is that how
Yeah.
you met Adam the
No,
first time?
no.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so I've known Adam like a little longer, but
Excellent.
yeah. So
2015, you were a baby in 2015,
Yeah,
man.
22.
How could you afford a custom suit back then?
I was working at SAP.
Okay.
And I got a white elephant gift. It was a $500 gift certificate to
Yep.
a custom suit. I was like, I'll try this out.
Excellent.
And yeah, I think I didn't ball out too much. I think I spent like $900 for a cheap custom suit. And then I paid $400 after that $500 gift certificate. And
Yeah.
the rest is history.
I think it's funny that you're saying $900 is a cheap custom suit. Yeah, isn't that funny? Look at you. Man, you got that SAP money, bro. Look at you.
Oh man, I don't have that SAP money as of right now, but as I say, but anyhow, back about it was an Encore search. So you went into marketing, into recruiting. How was that transition like? Was it actually scary? Was it you knew you hired the right people to make that type of jump? So yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that I'm very fortunate that I'm one of the few individuals that has never experienced anxiety in my entire life.
Explain that.
Yeah,
Experience
and
anxiety. I'm
so-
pretty sure everyone has some type of anxiety or some type of fear.
I don't know. It's got to be something I just didn't get that chromosome. So I talk to people. We've got a performance and mental health coach at the office.
I think I saw that. Is it Mahtab?
Yeah, her name is Mahtab Murati. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's a licensed clinician, and you know, she sits down and visits with our employees, 45-minute sessions once every week or 2 weeks, right? But we try to promote mental health in order to reduce burnout and increase productivity and profitability ultimately, right? But it was explained to me that depression and anxiety are very prevalent in today's generation, right?
Really?
But to be quite honest, it's something that I've never felt, right? And I think that that's one characteristic that an entrepreneur typically has, is we don't have that fear of failure. We don't have that anxiety. We're extreme optimists that are massive risk takers. And so whenever I started back in 2009, 2010, it was really easy to take that leap of faith. Number one, because my fiance had a 6-figure salary. And then that way it gave me the freedom and flexibility to take a risk and bet on myself, and fortunately it paid off, right? But I would say that it never really was scary, because when you own a professional services firm, whether you're an accountant or
a lawyer, lawyer or closier,
you're betting on yourself, right? You don't need to go out and spend $1 million for a franchise or invest in capital equipment or something like that. And so when you're betting on yourself, it becomes really easy to be optimistic about the product, right?
I see. And then even when you hire people, you don't want them to be. You would ideally like to hire people that have that similar mentality as you, or for a fact, like maybe they might not have, but it's good to have, and then maybe they could fill in the gaps that I may be lacking. Because I had that talk with Mimi Villano in my 16th episode. Because she says, like, I'm the business developer, but I'm not the organized person. I hire someone that fills in my weakness. Would you think that's kind of the same thing at your firm? Like, you hire for a very specific need that it's not that you're not good at. It's just more like I just don't have the bandwidth, or maybe it is something that I am lacking.
Yeah, so it really wasn't until my 6th year in business.
6 years, okay.
To where I hired that integrator, somebody that was the business mind that could implement processes, systems, and accountability. I waited until I was doing about 1.2 million in revenue, driving about 600,000-700,000 to the bottom line. And I met a gentleman through a peer-to-peer executive advisory group called Vistage.
Vistage, okay.
And so Scott and I were in the same group, and I remember one day I was just fucking bitching about my business.
Are you talking about Scott Kelly?
Yeah, Scott.
yes,
yeah. So
I love
he's
that
the
dude,
president. He's the president of our company today, and anyways, I was complaining about my firm, that people were lazy, that they were taking shortcuts, that they were taking 2-hour lunch breaks, and they really weren't taking their job serious, right? And so I remember venting to Scott over a beer one night, and he was like, "Damn, dude, you must be losing a lot of money." And I said, "What are you talking about, Scott? I made $600,000 last year." And so he was like, "Wow, It's unbelievable that you could have so many deficiencies and still be as profitable as you are. He said, what would you do if you actually implemented processes, systems, and accountability in order to scale?
Yeah.
And so I carved out about 200,000. It was a 6-figure base plus variable compensation to get him to 200. That way he would quit his job. He actually used to work for Kayla Delotti's company. Isn't that hilarious how small of a world that it is?
iHeartRadio.
Yeah, no, Aldridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Oh,
she's
so
not at
this is where Scott Kelly before he joined ESPN.
2016.
Damn.
She just joined there, I think, about 3 months ago. But anyways, but it's funny because he came on board. And it took him about a year to learn the business. He didn't have staffing or recruiting industry experience. And so I hired somebody that I could trust, somebody that trusted me, somebody that respected me, admired me. And that way he didn't try to come in and tell me how to run my business. He wanted to see how I ran it. And then he brought in new ideas, helped me put my vision down on paper. And then he became responsible for actually helping me execute that vision. That way I could focus on business development, and then he could focus on the people development.
I see you more of like a visionary type of guy, and you're also, you're being the brand ambassador. Every time I see you on social media, you knew how to kind of like utilize both on LinkedIn and Instagram presence. Like, you're the only one that I know in Houston that can do that, and I admire that. Like, I try to even implement some things that on my own too.
Yeah.
But hey, you're Jeremy Jenson. I'm just James Amory.
Oh, get out of here. You're younger than me, man. I got an 8-year head start on you. But with that being said, that's a good point. Is a lot of people, I'm a little bit misunderstood because I am a business owner. I am a CEO for a 40-person company, right? And so people expect me to be a certain way. And then they see me on Instagram, and I got I got the gold chain, I got the Louis Vuitton sneakers, I got a little bit of Riz, a little bit of swag, is the words that you said, right?
Yes, I did.
And so quite often it is a little bit jolting for them to be like, I don't really understand, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's one thing that I learned late in life was it's important to just be yourself, right? There's no reason to try to fit into a certain box just because society says that a CEO should act this way.
I think there's always a time and a place. And I like that you knew how to compartmentalize when to actually be serious and take business and wear a certain way. But the other point of time is like, yeah, I know how to genuinely actually have fun. I am a CEO of a founder. You're, again, like I said in the introduction, you're a philanthropist, you're a father of 3, and also you're Houston's eligible bachelor. Like, you're more than just as being a CEO.
Absolutely. But the CEO is what fuels everything else, right? I am a great father because of the freedom and flexibility that my career has provided, right? I do have the opportunity to throw parties and do social events and give back because of the freedom and flexibility and financial security that my business has created. But I think that's where a lot of people go wrong is they want to be a socialite, or they want to be seen at the galas and the charity events, right? But they don't want to go out and get the money first. And I think that it's very important to recognize that I got married in 2010. I was married for over 9 years. I had my head down. I was not on social media. I was not going out. I was not meeting people. I was focused on building a business that could create sustainable 7-figure income, right? And if I didn't have that narrow focus for the 11 years that I was with my ex-wife, I don't think that I would have become as successful as I did.
Yeah.
I needed to not have the distractions of social media, to be quite honest.
Yeah, no, and that's great. You kind of laid that foundation of like, and doing that. And again, you were married, so probably younger Jeremy back then was not really socializing too much. You were trying to have a successful marriage or whatnot.
Yeah, you're grinding.
Yeah.
You got to focus on your grind first, man.
But what really kind of brought me when you said that your wife earned more, man, that was, I could relate to that. Like, I kind of understand like what's it feel like to not feel as masculine, because I did had an ex-girlfriend that made more than me, and it was during COVID. So
Okay.
I remember there was part of me like I had to be furloughed, and I had to really kind of do whatever I can to provide. And I knew like deep in my heart, I was just like, man, I'm not enough. I'm truly not. I don't feel like a man.
That's your own self-limiting belief. That might be
I
a
know.
cultural thing, man. You know,
It
where are you
was,
from?
yeah.
Where are you from again?
Yeah, I am actually from Malaysia,
Okay.
and again, that's a factor too. Like my father has always been the provider, and he's done it very well to the point that my mom doesn't actually have to work at all. And for me, I felt like again, I try to make the most of that I can with the cards I was dealt, but it's just very tough. It was mentally and spiritually tough for me to feel valued or validated with my ex-girlfriend back at the time.
Yeah, I think it was different for me because, you know, I was 24 whenever I met my ex-wife, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't think anyone expects you to be a millionaire when you're 24, you know? And so a little bit of grace, you know, she gave me. She saw somebody that had ambition. She saw someone that was intelligent and kind, that gave her love in the way that she needed to receive it, right? And so she took a risk on me and invested in me, right? But it's a little bit different when you're 31, 32. You kind of already expect somebody to have made it to some extent. So you're right. As you get older, it does become increasingly more difficult because if you're dating 30-year-olds, let's say they
Are
were
you talking about female to a man or man to female
I'm
or
saying
whatever?
it becomes more difficult for you, right?
Yeah.
Because girls are increasingly more successful as they get older. One would assume.
I mean, like, is this like if they take the route of being a stay-at-home wife, or when they take the career route, like really focusing on their career?
I'm talking about you, dude. You ain't dating no stay-at-home wife, bro. Come on. No, you're going after the girls with the master's degrees, dude. Those Asian girls that work for Deloitte and EY. I know you, bro. Huh?
Oh, okay. I do have lots of types, but I actually did date a girl with the master's degree, and it just didn't sit well with me. Like, again, it's like I still really endure and I love character more than just the money, because I truly believe that with a lot of great character and the knowledge and wisdom, you can get the money back. And I'm pretty sure you could say the same thing. Like maybe 1 year 1 month or 1 quarter you lost a lot of money, and then, dude, I can get it back. Like, you know, I just have a plan to get we're going with it. So that's just how I am. But maybe you can agree or disagree on that.
I mean, I think that I've wanted different things in different seasons of life.
Different seasons of life, yeah.
You know, whenever I was 24, I went after the girl that was well-educated, that was kind, genuine. She had amazing maternal qualities, right? She was loyal. And she had a low body count. That was very, very important, right? You know, I married her, and now, even though she's my ex-wife, she's one of my very best friends today, and she's an amazing mom. She's a fantastic
to all three
co-parent.
of your sons, right?
Yeah, all three with the same woman. It's so funny. I remember one time I told a girl that I was on a date with, I said I had 3 kids, and she was like, "Oh, how many different baby mamas?" And I said, "Are you fucking serious? I was married for 9 years. I'm a fucking Katie dad, right?" But anyways.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think it's important that you know, who you pick for that first wife is critically important to your own growth and success, right? You don't want drama. You need somebody that's going to be a great partner and not be someone that just takes from you, takes your energy, takes your financial resources, right? You need someone that's going to be a pace setter, someone that's going to motivate and inspire you and hold you accountable to achieving your goals. I think is very important. Now that I'm older and I've already created a business that creates sustainable wealth for myself and my family, I maybe don't need a partner like I did before. I think maybe what I'm looking for now is a little bit more like a cheerleader. Right?
Cheerleader.
Yeah, a cheerleader. Someone that's going to support me emotionally, physically, right? Not necessarily financially. I've got advisors. I've got a life coach. I've got a business coach, a performance and mindset coach, right? I've got people that hold me accountable to helping me achieve my professional goals.
But you want to fill in the personal goals too as well?
Well, I just need somebody that's going to take care of me, right? I just had knee surgery last Thursday.
I know.
Right? I'm at home.
Oh, that was intense.
You know,
like, how did that happen?
Maybe I had like a nurse that's, you know, like rubbing on my knee and like making me feel good. Fortunately, I have female friends like Huda, who's, you know, sending me links to stuff that are going to help me rebuild my collagen in my legs.
I had to kind of. I will. You gotta tell me and also the rest of the viewers and listeners here, like, how the hell did that actually happen in paddleball? I was like, what?
Yeah. Here's what happened, dude. So in February of this year, I weighed 280 pounds, and I needed to get my shit together, dude.
Yeah.
I was not feeling good. I was going out 7 nights a week. I was drinking heavy. I was eating steak and lobster every single night, and just. It's not sustainable, right? And
yeah.
so then I met an amazing woman in late February, and we started dating, and fitness was the cornerstone of her life.
Yeah.
And so she helped bring me a lot of positive influence, right? And so I started to essentially eliminate my drinking, really started to focus on monitoring what I was putting in my body, and then I started to live a little bit more active lifestyle. And so I gravitated towards pickleball.
Yeah.
And when that relationship ended in July, I had no interest in dating. And so I really just hit the pickleball court 5 days a week. And it was something that I got super into with my buddy John Spates.
Yeah.
And we were playing 4 or 5 days a week. And it's funny because when you're playing socially at like the neighborhood middle school, right, it's real easy to get this false sense of feeling like you're a good player. And I was playing for about 3 months.
So you got a little competitive, yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I'm fucking good at pickleball.
Yeah.
And so then I started going to elite pickleball.
Oh, damn.
Which is like badass players. It's over on, I think it's on 7th Street in the Heights. And dude, I was getting fucking smoked, bro.
Really?
I was getting smoked. They had my ass out there diving for balls. And I just,
oh my God.
I started fucking up my knees, and I'm so competitive that I didn't want to throw in the towel. I just continued playing on bad knees. I was taking muscle relaxers before I went out and played. Because
not
I
after.
just I didn't want it to hurt as I was playing, but then I would wake up the next day and my shit would be destroyed. Finally, I went to the orthopedic physician, and I tore all of the meniscus in my right knee. And
you didn't feel like throbbing pain before that?
Dude, it was so bad.
Oh, okay. So you were feeling throbbing
so
pain. I thought it was just like you did a checkup. Like I felt something off.
No, it's bad. No,
wow.
It was bad. And so I scheduled the surgery, and now I'm 1 week post surgery, and I feel like $1 million, dude.
Oh, man.
I'm a massive proponent of surgery. There's so many people that are so scared of going underneath the knife. And I'll tell you, if you wait, you're going to regret it. Just fucking knock it out, do your physical therapy, and get back.
Just to be very super proactive. And of course, I think a lot of, I'll say this for like the average. I know you're a very wealthy guy, but for the average people, they want to prolong like doing surgery. They don't want to really go in because they're afraid of medical bills, which is understandable. But I think like if you but what's more better, like do it now and then try to find a way to pay it off as fast as you can, or do it later on. Next thing you know, it's like,
it's all about quality of life, man. You know, and hopefully people have health insurance to where, that's going to help cover the medical bills. I think my surgery cost $1,400 or something out of pocket. It wasn't something unreasonable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I know we kind of dived out of like a Thrive, but then it's like
no, that's thriving, dude. I'm going to be back on the pickleball court in 2 weeks, baby. I'm going to be hella thriving.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I'm just thinking like the thriving, like more about the Encore search partners, and I think you're definitely you told me before that you want to hit like more than $12 million in revenue, and I believe you're probably going to hit above that.
Yeah. So last year we hit 10.83 million. This year we're trending to hit 11. It's like October 29th right now.
Yeah. October 29th. Wait, it's 27.
Oh, is it only the 27th?
Strip your Rolex, bro.
Yeah. Wind it up, bro. Yeah. But with that being said, I think we have a good shot of hitting 11.5, and so 12 is going to be our stretch goal for sure. 12 is going to be a stretch goal, and I think from what I've known about the Encore Search Partners, like you guys are continuously growing. Except maybe we're not going to include COVID. COVID was kind of a fucked up period for everyone's business. Like, oh, I probably lost $500,000 in Q2 of 2020. Yeah, it was a bad quarter for sure.
Yeah. Like, would you say like you promote like remote talents there, or you guys get any type of talents, like either remote or they go into the office? Because tell them, like, I would like the audience to kind of understand, like, you're not just any staffing firm. You're like very executive. So it's like high, like tell me what some typical deal sizes would be. Like a consultant would be like what, 50,000, 100,000?
Yeah, so our average fee is 54,000. And basically as a recruiter, we charge 25% of somebody's guaranteed first year earnings. That's what we charge our clients in order to poach somebody from their competitors. So imagine like a law firm in Chicago. They lose an intellectual property attorney, maybe like, a fourth year associate. She ends up going to work in-house.
Or for a competitor, something like that.
Or goes to work for a competitor that creates a vacancy, right? And so they come to our firm and they say, hey, we need a strong fourth year associate that has an electrical engineering degree and a JD that has a focus in intellectual property law, right? So they come to us, we poach her. Let's say we get her a $240,000 salary. We send them a $60,000 invoice on the candidate's start date, and they pay it in 30 days.
And you said that if we were to be in Chicago, because since you guys are based in Houston, and how do you kind of place those talents if, let's just say, they are in Chicago or any places outside of Texas? Like, how's that work? They kind of work? Because I know I used to work at TopTel. I was kind of very similar in that sense. Like, we do it globally, but it was all remote tech talent. So whenever a client I'll say this at the client name at Cargill wanted a specific expert that is in SAP S/4HANA and also has like Ariba experience, we were able to kind of find that unicorn talent within our network. But if it's not in our network, then maybe the recruiters have to find that talent globally. So that, they do it remote, but in your case, nationwide.
Yeah, so for me, I pay about $300,000 a year just for data, right? So it becomes easy for our recruiters. Well, not easy. Efficient.
Seamless. Efficient. There you go. Yeah.
It becomes efficient for our recruiters to identify who all of the folks are that are in the market, right? So we have a database that we pay for to where they could just go, okay, who are all the 4 to 8 year associates that work for law firms within a 20-mile radius of our client? Boom, it generates a list of 83 names. And then they just make cold calls, cold emails, cold text messages.
Getting those talents. Yeah.
Sometimes we'll call the person's fucking mom and be like, hey,
that's some great.
I'm trying to get a hold of Megan.
That's some Grant Cardone shit there, bro. I like that.
Oh, dude, we're savage. But you got to remember, so if our average fee is, let's just round it off and say 50 grand.
Yeah.
That means the recruiters are making $20,000 a pop, And so there's 4 people in my firm that last year made over $700,000 in income, not billings, in fucking income.
I can't imagine how big the billing is. Like, if to make that much.
It's big, dude.
Oh my God.
It's big.
You got some sharks. Man, I gotta man, that's no wonder your firm generating that much money with such a small team.
But you know what's funny is I think that, and I'm a massive self-promoter, but even this feels a little bit bad. But if you want to fucking hire sharks, you got to be a shark yourself, dude. You have to have that swagger, that confidence, the compensation structure that's going to motivate a shark to want to thrive, right? Because if a business owner is constantly thinking about how they can keep the bulk of the profit, or how they're not going to invest in resources and technology and support for their producers, you're going to lose your top talent. And so that's one thing that I've done extremely well, is to just constantly invest in my team. That way I'm never exposed to losing the badasses.
Wow, that's really good. That's really good that you do that. It kind of do remind me of Andy Elliott. He's like the...
Oh, dude, I love Andy Elliott.
I absolutely love Andy Elliott.
And the sales trainer coach that's like swole, the bald dude, is that him?
Yes,
yeah.
And he's known as the car guy. He actually was able to put Grant Cardone out of the car business, but he has an amazing people knowledge. I love his energy. He is very savage, but he's not being a savage because he's a dick. He's just being a savage. Like, I want to help people.
He's kind of a dick, though. Yeah, but it's good.
You met him in real life?
No, but his content, dude. He's he'll tell you like it is, dude. If you're being a bitch, he's gonna fucking call you out.
Oh yeah. No, I think he wouldn't. I would like to kind of one day be trained by him, but hey, who knows?
Let's bring him on the Thrive and Vibe, dude. Come on. I think he lives in Dallas. Where does he live?
I thought he lives in Arizona.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I
we'll take it on the road, baby.
Absolutely. But last question about the Thrive. So when you do hire those people, do you really like to find other sharks, or you see other potential of like sharks? Like you just know it right away, like that want to kind of bring, whether it be your next recruiter, whether it be your next business development manager, whether it be your client relation. Fuck, what if it's like your next guy that wants to be making your path to success? And guys, if you check out Path to Success, that's his podcast. So it's going to come soon.
The Path to Success.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a great question. I think that it's very important as an entrepreneur to recognize that you can't have all sharks, right?
It would clash. It would clash a lot, though, right?
Yeah, because there's only. I think the old adage is, you can't have all chiefs. You got to have some Indians, right? And so, with that being said, true A+ stud players are very rare.
Right.
And what I like to do is I like to continually do content marketing and develop a brand that attracts those A players, right? Because A players are not necessarily always looking for a job, but they're at least open to having a conversation with other A players, right? With a brand that they think that they can increase their income potential, right? And so I probably get one A+ player a year. And then in the meantime, we do an incredible job of attracting, role players, right?
Role players. Tell me about role players.
Yeah. So Scottie Pippins, right? People that just
the supporters,
the people that just make fucking Jordan, right? And without Scottie, he probably never would have been able to be Jordan. But you need those people that don't necessarily need the spotlight, right? And don't necessarily need to be the rainmakers, that can be those consistent 150K earners. That way, the other individuals can literally build business units around those role players. Yeah, so I think that we do a good job of that, identifying those role players.
Identifying the role players and then the A+ players. I usually used to think like if A players really can ignite and really burn up the environment, metaphorically speaking, like burn up, like really make it like turn up the notch, or do you want to have? Is it better to kind of have a lot of A players and then you build up with each other? It's like there's that old adage, like you are the 5 people you hang around with, whether it be professionally or personally. So, what would you think is like kind of better?
I think that it doesn't work in business. I think that you can't have all A players. You'll have too much friction. You'll have people fighting for the spotlight.
It kind of works out in sports, surprisingly.
I disagree.
Yeah.
I disagree. When you look at, let's say, I don't know, who's the most successful basketball team in the last 10 years? The Golden State Warriors, right?
Yeah, the Golden State Warriors,
Yeah. I mean, if you had Steph and then you put other fucking A+, players.
Think of it like the USA Olympics. They were all A players, but if you do that for season long, I think there will be some clash. There will be some drama.
That's what I'm saying, and you don't want the drama, dude.
Like if it's just temporarily for like that Summer Olympics, okay, that's fine. They'd be like, hey, we're all representing. We all had that one team, one goal.
Yeah.
But if let's just say you get like a lot of star players, there'll be some prima donnas.
100%. Yeah, Kobe ain't gonna be happy putting up fucking 12 points.
Rest in peace, GOAT. Rest in peace, GOAT. And speaking of GOAT, you are a GOAT. You put that on your fucking LinkedIn. That's another thing that actually makes you so stand out. I was like, this guy, I love this guy. He's not just a GOAT on social media, but also a GOAT on LinkedIn.
Yeah, somebody referred to me as the GOAT. Brent Young, I think he's with Gallagher Insurance now, but he called me the GOAT of recruiting. This is way back in 2017.
And it stuck to you.
And then we ran an ad in the Houston Business Journal, full-page ad, and it said, hire the GOAT to find your unicorn. Man. And I got a lot of publicity on that ad. And so, yeah, it kind of stuck. People in my industry kind of know me as the GOAT. So I don't look like Tom Brady. I'm not 6'4", but I am 5'10". And with boots, I'm 6 feet. So maybe I'll get invited to some rodeo events.
I just call you the Jeremy Jenson or JJ, not JJ Watts. Oh, man. But it's really good. Man, so many golden nuggets here. So going to the best part, the vibe part. So first, interesting question about the vibe. Why did you get a divorce? Like, just
oh man,
yeah. I'm hitting you hard on this, man.
So I think that I think that a lot of people maybe ask themselves that question too, because I openly talk about the fact that I still love my ex-wife. She's one of my very best friends still today. We talk every day. She's remarried. She got remarried about 1.5 years ago.
Not many men can actually do
And,
that. Like they really cannot. Like they just, good riddance. Not bad blood. They do good riddance. Like, hey, good
Yeah.
luck.
Well,
Bye.
what's funny is I saw an Instagram story the other day, and it said, if you still are friends with your ex, that means one of two things.
You still have feelings?
It means you either are still in love with them, or you were never in love with them at all, right? So when you think of all the exes that you are still friends with, right, you probably really never loved them at all, right? If you really, really look at the relationship. And so
What degree of friendship we're talking about? Are we talking about like talk to them every day, like you said, or we're talking about like, even all my exes, some of them actually still follow me on social media. Like they see me, but I'm not actually saying hi, hello.
Yeah, they probably never loved you at all. Sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
But it might have been a selfish love of how does Zane make me feel, and not necessarily the organic, real emotions, right? But I think the reason why I got a divorce was I let my selfishness and my ego get to me.
When you were building your business?
Yeah. So I had my head down. I was building my company. And, it's funny because on the outside, I had everything that anybody would have ever wanted. We lived in $1 million house. I had an Audi R8 in the driveway, millions of dollars in the bank, beautiful wife, 3 young kids, amazing, amazing children. And I was still unhappy because I wasn't getting attention. And I wasn't getting affection. I wasn't getting attention from my wife.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's funny because all of the qualities that I fell in love with very early on, 2009, 2010, when we got married, were the fact that she had very maternal instincts. She was very selfless. She had, hundreds of friends. My ex-wife has been a bridesmaid 18 times. And of those 18 times, she was the maid of honor 8 times, right? Just to tell you who she is as a friend, right?
Wow, that is...
But fast forward, 2017, 2018, when things started to get a little bit rocky, I was not having my needs met with regards to having my attention being met, right? My business was starting to take off. I was making 7 figures. Maybe I felt entitled, right, to a certain element of attention and affection. But she was putting the kids first, understandably. Fuck, that's the reason why I married her, right?
Absolutely.
She was putting the kids first. Then she was putting her friends second. Remember, she was a bridesmaid 18 times.
Yeah,
Friends was huge.
I can't imagine 18
kids,
times.
Friends, family, God, right?
And then you?
And so it's so funny because I've also heard that all of the reasons why you fall in love with somebody in the beginning end up becoming the reasons why you resent them in the future. And so I kind of let my own selfishness and ego get the best of me, and I thought the grass was greener on the other side. And so we ended up filing for divorce in late 2018. The divorce was finalized on June 13th, 2019. And, to be quite honest, it was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to her, myself, and my business. My ex-wife is a petroleum engineer. She's very risk averse. And so she always erred on the side of caution whenever it came to investing and growing the business. She didn't want to give people 6-figure salaries. She didn't want to sign 7-figure lease agreements, right? And then when I became single, I was obviously able to turn up my risk tolerance, and then that really accelerated our company growth.
Yeah.
But I do still love her. I do still love her.
Because she is the mother of your children.
She is the mother of my children.
Very risk adverse, kind of very traditional, and you're just really huge risk taker and no risk, no reward type of thing. And
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Yeah,
and that's totally fine.
Yeah, you want to make $1 million, you got to be willing to put $500,000 on the line, man. It's very, very true.
Yeah. Do you think have you found anyone that can somewhat understand that, or you're like you just saying that I do my thing, just be a cheerleader. Wherever I'm going to, just be a cheerleader. Make my life easy a bit.
Well, that's the struggle, right? Because, You're constantly comparing women to your ex. And I mean, it just happens. You do the same thing, right?
I do.
Yeah,
I sometimes don't want to
and-
admit it, but since you just put it out there,
Yeah,
man, I do.
and the fact of the matter is I am attracted to intelligence. I am attracted to ambition and creativity, right? But at the end of the day, someone who's intelligent, someone who's creative, someone who is ambitious is typically going to be busy. And at this season of life, it's like I don't want a partner that's busy. I want someone that's going to be my plus one to all the events, right? I want someone that's going to make me the center of attention, right? And they're comfortable being Jeremy's partner and not necessarily with their own ambitions and identity. And that is a very selfish mindset. But the way that I combat it is I've got probably 20 female friends that I talk to every day that I'm extremely close with, and they give me that attention. They give me that affection, right? And because it's just a friendship, right, it doesn't muddy the waters of these massive expectations of people wanting a ring in 6 months, right? And so,
Well, you never know.
yeah, but that's what I found to be successful for me in this season of life is just to have several female friends, for sure.
Yeah, like type of companionship. It's really ringing something in my head about like, you gotta have that cheerleader. I kind of want to have my Bonnie and Clyde and a true ride or die. And I don't know if women, again, I'm saying this from my own experience. I don't know if I could attract a woman that is like a true ride or die. Like, are you going to be there with me when if we could go potentially homeless and we had to eat ramen to like, celebrate my success? I don't know if I've seen that yet or if attracted that, or you just never know. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think that I definitely support you looking for that where you're at in life, for sure. Fortunately, I found that whenever I was 24 years old. And I think that you need that as your first wife, right? Your first partner is that ride or die, that Bonnie and Clyde, someone that truly unequivocally believes in you, trusts you, admires you, and is willing to fucking just cut for you, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate that I did find that. But with that being said, I mean, shit, I got married in 2010. Like, we didn't have fucking Tinder. We didn't have Instagram, right? We didn't have all of the distractions of social media. And
Dating apps kind of,
right?
dating apps and social media kind of fucked us over.
100%. I mean, it doesn't
Like, too
hurt
many
me.
options.
It doesn't hurt me. I mean, I was already married. I already have 3 kids, right? It's transactional. It's easy to find a date. If I wanted one, I could have one in 5 minutes.
Well, yeah. Even, and then, but to combat it from my, like, I'm so glad I don't really go on dating apps because I think I had 5 years in dating apps and kind of cool, fun, get to know, hookups, whatever. But what really sets it a lot more better for quality connection is because when you invited me at the single soiree, I was like, this is what I think I need. And I go with no expectation. Like, I want to meet quality people, like-minded women, either for companionship or potentially more. And you did that. And I'm so glad that you invited me to it because I think I made like 15 female companions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like one of them including Morgan. Morgan, you're going to be on the Drive and Vibe podcast soon.
There we go.
Yep. So, and which we can do more of that, like for people like me. I don't know about the youngins, the people, the Gen Zs. I don't know. And
Well, here the problem with the youngins is they've never had to have game. They've never needed to go out and pick up a girl at a bar or a restaurant, right? Or
even
life,
a grocery store or a class.
They just open up their phone and they swipe right, and then somebody shows up to their fucking dorm. And
or just goes on Instagram and then, hey, I'll shoot a DM or whatsoever. Yeah.
And you know what's unfortunate is I feel like so many women that are in the younger generation accept that mediocrity, right? They accept that transactional nature whenever it comes to dating, and it's really unfortunate because they don't wake up and realize that, holy shit, this is the bar should not literally be on the floor. They really don't wake up and realize that until they get close to 30. And then quite often they end up settling, right, for a guy that's just not going to fuck them over. But,
True.
Yeah.
No, that's a really kind of say that. There's this term, and I think you may have heard this term, but hypergamy. Like I think we both, men and women, you can agree or disagree that we're both hypergamous. We want to get the best of what we can get, and we're clearly seeing that in everywhere we go. Whether it be like you being hypergamy, like I want to get the best looking dude that I can possibly can, and then I'm not going to settle for less. Or a guy would be, I want to get the hottest like woman ever that I could get, and no one to get that no one else has ever gotten. But I go in with more like, I'll go with the absolute best. I want to be the best version of myself, wherever that I think I can, whether I'm having that inner validation and then getting outer validation, being objectively attractive for me possible. And then I could definitely attract, not just like go about it. But what's your opinion about hypergamy? Like,
Yeah, I
they
mean,
just always want to get the best of the best.
Yeah, I think that I definitely fell victim of that whenever I first got separated from my ex-wife in 2018. I started dating a girl who was a fucking smoke show, dude. And she came from a wealthy family in Sugar Land. You know, we'd go hang out with her family at Sweetwater Country Club. She was a single mom. She had 2 little girls. And I think things happened so quickly because she was just like so gorgeous. And I think in my mind, I was so selfishly consumed with the idea of people looking at us together and being admirable of me and being like, holy shit, Jeremy got a fucking smoke. And in a way, it was probably like overcompensating for the fact that I left an unbelievably incredible woman in my ex-wife, and I wanted the optics of people thinking that I upgraded. But the fact of the matter is she didn't make me feel good, you know? And I don't really want to say anything negative, but just because it looks like it's a great relationship or the person is very beautiful on the outside, that doesn't always tell the full story, right? And
Yeah, you saw the true colors and felt like,
fortunately I exited that relationship. And, you know, to be quite honest, ever since then, I've gone for women that it doesn't, I think that beauty is binary. You're either attracted to somebody or you're not. This whole idea of 9s and 10s, and, you know, I just don't subscribe to it. And it might be an age thing, but I think what's more important is how does that person make me feel?
Yeah.
Right? And I talked to my life coach about this a few weeks ago, and I recently exited a very serious long-term relationship back in July. And, you know, after really putting some thought and discovery into it, I realized that I was in love with how she made me feel, right? I don't necessarily know if I was, you know, fully in love with her because I don't think enough time had gone to where I got to really fully know her and her mission, her vision, her values, her character, her integrity. I was in love with the idea of us, right?
The idea.
Because of the way she looked or the way she acted or her social network, right? And at the end of the day, I really fell in love with the way that she made me feel, which is a very selfish love. And selfish love is very, very inorganic, and it's hard to maintain whenever you experience seasons of, you know, friction, right? But that's been my experience. And so I can definitely see how hypergamous relationships exist. But at the end of the day, you know, I'll use another word that one of my ex-girlfriends introduced me to that I think may be a little bit more applicable to what I subscribe to nowadays. But one of my ex-girlfriends, she was polyamorous. Have you ever heard of that phrase?
Yeah, kind of like almost it can be like open relationship in some sort of way, or not polyamorous, like have more than one partner.
To some extent,
yeah.
Right? So you might be thinking about polygamist.
Oh yeah,
right?
yes, that's the correct term. Polyamorous.
So I had an ex-girlfriend who was polyamorous, and at the time I was like, oh yeah, that's great, right? And then I fell in love with her, and I was like, oh fuck, this isn't good at all.
I'm glad you caught yourself. You have that self-awareness.
Yeah, well, you don't realize it at the time, right? But so she subscribes to the idea of that you can love multiple people. And so so think about like monogamy, right?
Yeah.
And I think that society says that we have to be a monogamous culture. And if you're not, then you're a cheater, and
Like you're
And
gonna
you're a
bring
bad
drama.
person.
You're a
And
bad
you're a
person.
bad
You're gonna bring
person.
drama. You're not gonna. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be a good. Yeah, a good
exactly.
synergy.
And so polyamorous people subscribe to the idea of ethical non-monogamy. And what ethical non-monogamy means is, hey, I'm in a non-monogamous relationship, but my partner knows about it. My partner is fully informed
Got the
about
blessing,
every other
yeah.
individual that I'm with, right?
Right.
But the reason why I think that they get along with it, or get away with it rather,
Yeah.
is because they identify as being polyamorous, meaning I have the ability to be in love with multiple partners.
In love, not
In
like in love.
Not in lust, right? Because we know men, I've got several, hell, even friends that are in serious long-term committed relationships or even marriages who still fucking hook up with other girls on the side, and they have no feelings for them at all. I mean,
It's just. Yeah.
it's just
lust, yeah.
It's conquering your primal desires and still feeling like a man.
Exactly. That's why I just feel like I can somewhat, now that you kind of put it that way,
Yeah.
I'm in full agreement with that. Like we're just we're going into our biological nature as a man.
Yeah, but it's almost embarrassing to say that out loud, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like because we're all civilized and we're
Yeah.
supposed to be, we have feelings. But if we were just straight
Yeah.
up like an animal, like in the animal kingdom, they
Oh yeah.
just go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I hope, I could see a future where this polyamory and ethical non-monogamy continues to be adopted by both genders, right? Because it's a great way to
Or
still
multiple genders,
be in a long-term committed relationship with someone.
Yeah.
It's a great way to be in a long-term committed relationship with someone and still have that freedom and flexibility to maybe step out if your partner knows about it.
True. I gotta wonder how can one kind of be committed in doing that, because when I think of committed like relationships, like it's very monogamy. Like you're committed to me. You're my ride or die. Like even the thought, even saying like, oh, the thought of you like dreaming of me cheating on me. Oh, you're a bad person, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that's commitment.
Yep.
It's like how you're committed in your business, because you're not gonna marry or throw in a towel, sell your business, and do another business. But you're committed. If you're committed to the business, you're committed to the relationship. My mom said that to me once. I was
Yeah.
like, if you're committed in your career,
Yeah.
you'll be committed into your marriage. I'm
Yeah.
like, I could see the relation to that.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think it's a matter of communication, setting
Absolutely.
setting expectations, and then managing expectations for sure. Because, I would honestly make the case that my ex-wife is committed to me, right? I mean, obviously she's remarried. She still has my last name, she maintains my last name because it's the last name of our 3 children. And she, doesn't want any confusion to be associated there, right? But she would do anything for me, and I would do anything for her. I provide financially for my family. Obviously, I take care of them emotionally, and I would support them with anything that they ever needed. Doesn't mean that I'm in a monogamous relationship with her, but I'm certainly committed for sure. Nobody can ever step in between the relationship that I have with my children or my ex-wife.
man, that's a great quote from the great Jeremy Jenson, father of the year.
Yeah.
You're not just
Definitely not. Yeah.
and it just wanted to go in, I've been kind of curious about your kids. So like your kids really growing up in this, and like how we are right now, like I'm pretty sure are they at that point that all 3 of your sons like actually understand where you're kind of going through as a man, or more like it's he's our dad. He's
No.
our dad. He provided us. He loves us emotionally, and yeah. Tell me like
So
how.
I'll answer that in 2 ways.
Okay.
The first way is no, my kids know that I'm a superhero. And I think the reason why they know that is their mom does an incredible job of showcasing everything that I do, all of my accomplishments, all of my awards.
All your cars.
She gives me credit whenever credit is due.
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
And I'm very grateful for that. And so for the last 4 years, I've lived in Oak Forest. I just bought a new house in Afton Oaks, but in Oak Forest, I don't know if you're familiar with the area, Garden Oaks. Oak
I think
Forest,
I went to your Oak Forest house.
Yeah, but basically like the Heights area.
Yeah.
So my house now, let's say it's a $1.2 million house, but there's other small little ranch style homes all around it, right?
Right.
And whenever we go to my barber, he lives on North Side, right? And so, these are like almost like shacks, to be quite honest. When you look at like, Airline and Cavalcade and that area. Over there,
I live in
right?
those. I live in that area, Fulton Street and Cavalcade. Don't be shitting on my
I'm
on
not
my side.
shitting. Get out of here. I'm not saying that. I'm actually saying quite the opposite, to be
Oh,
quite
okay.
honest. And so my point is whenever my kids go with me to go get my hair cut, I'm very, very transparent about pointing out, you see that van right there, right? And that logo, that guy's an electrician. So all these companies where this 500 workers work at, he makes sure that the lights are working.
Wow.
You see that plumber right there? He makes sure that all of the toilets flush and all of the water flows through all the pipes so they can make the milk that gets shipped to your school, so all the little kids can drink milk. So I teach to my children
The
that
values.
we need people of all different economic, social classes, right? And so just because they live in a fucking 6,000 square foot custom house, in the suburbs on a half-acre lot, they know that everybody plays an important role in our economy, right? And in our whole family ecosystem, right? And so my kids, they're not entitled. They're not pretentious. They're very grateful for what they have. They know that daddy works with computers, and they know that daddy has an online persona that individuals want to work for, and that daddy treats people nice and pays them really, really well. That way they don't leave, right? And so I do instill those values, and I'm trying to create 3 entrepreneurs. But it is funny because even though they have the same mom, the same dad, they were raised in the same household, all their personalities are so different, man.
I believe
it's
so.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But they're all extremely intelligent, and they're all extremely athletic, right? Whenever you blend those qualities as a mom and dad, right, I think that stuff is hereditary sometimes. But with that being said, I'm saying my kids are grateful. They're not entitled. And the challenge that it poses is they really do have no concept of money, dude, because they've never gone without. They've never gone without.
So how would you try to train your kids in that? Maybe
it's
you
very
could-
difficult, dude.
Maybe you could definitely, if they go to college, like do like what was it, those missionary trips, like go to a country where
Maybe.
that could be an idea.
Yeah, they may be.
Yeah, or do more volunteers.
Yeah. I mean, their mom does an incredible job of having them volunteer at the church. But the problem is hell, the church that they go to is all other fucking rich, white, entitled kids, So it does create somewhat of a challenge, right? I remember my 7-year-old, I think he was 6 at the time, we were at my brother's house. And maybe sometimes I tell my kids too much. So the new house that I bought in Afton Oaks, I paid cash for. It was $2.1 million. And I told my kids I wanted them to be, proud of me, and I wanted, but I talk about numbers with them because I want them to not be afraid of talking about big numbers. Right?
You want them to think big, yes.
Yeah, I want them to think big, absolutely. But I remember they were talking to my brother.
Well, you have a brother?
My little brother. He works for me. He's 32.
Whoa.
And,
wait, how many siblings you have?
I just have one little brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
No sisters?
No sisters, man.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that Jeremy Jenson has a younger brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And so my son, he asked my brother, he goes, Uncle Jake, how much money do you have?
Oh.
And his wife is sitting next to him, and his wife is
sounds very awkward,
first generation American. He's got 3 children, but they don't talk about money. Just culturally, her family, like my brother, does not talk about money with my sister-in-law.
Mm-hmm.
And he laughs and he tells my son, he goes, I have enough.
That's a good answer.
And then Daniel Jenson, he says, how much?
Oh.
And he's like, I have enough, buddy. And then my son, he goes, more than 5 million?
Oh no!
and fucking my
at a
brother
dinner table?
No, they were on the couch. We were
Okay.
like watching the Astros or something. But
Yeah.
anyways, the point he goes, he laughs and he goes, "No, buddy, not more than 5 million." But there's this weird fucking concept.
Yeah.
But again, you want your children to shoot for the stars, right? Because if you shoot for the stars, you might land on the moon. And, I think it's funny because me owning a recruiting company, whenever we consult people, whenever they're making a career change, we have to have very candid conversations about money, right? What's your salary? What's your bonus? What type of restricted stock do you have? What is your 401k match? Do you have deferred compensation? What's going to motivate a move? If I'm scared to talk about money, I can't effectively do my job as your agent. Is that true?
That's true.
Right? And so a lot of times I have to coach some of our new hires that are Gen Z that just have an aversion to talking about money.
Because they were just conditioned, whatever in their previous job or their parents.
Yeah, usually their parents for sure. And so I do have to be cognizant of the negative that creates with my children for sure.
Yeah, it's a very interesting trade-off. Like you want them to kind of be grateful and be grateful and ambitious, but at the same time, like does a little humility or humbleness kind of like it's kind of disappearing, and you want to try to balance both. Because again, I know how much you as a father and an entrepreneur wants to really get them to really grind like how you grind it, but maybe it's tough.
And honestly, the fact of the matter is I don't need them to grind, right? Because, dad has sacrificed enough and has invested enough to where I think that they're going to be okay. I think ultimately a father wants his children to be happy and wants his kids to be good people, first and foremost.
Yeah.
My middle son is a genius. He's never made anything less than 100 in his life. He's 9 years old. He's an all-star baseball player, an incredible basketball player, a fucking select soccer player, incredible at gymnastics. He's in the 3rd grade, and he's in the 6th grade gymnastics class because he's so fucking good. This kid could be anything that he wants to be, a physician, an engineer, an attorney, an entrepreneur. Luke Jenson looks at me and says, Dad, I want to own a gym. I want to own a gym. Kid's 9 years old. He's fucking ripped up, dude. Ripped up. And you know what I tell him? I will invest in your gym, buddy.
No, that's
you will own a gym. I want him to be happy.
I like that you have enough wealth that you want to really give them options like that. And again, like the fact that you said that, like you have that ability to say that, not just like, oh no, that's not doable.
Yeah.
Like get a scholarship, whatever. But again.
Yeah. And my youngest son, he doesn't really have any ambitions yet. He's 7. He's in the 2nd grade. But hell, he's just wrestling with older brothers every day. I want him to be a fucking MMA fighter, dude. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
Wow.
My oldest son is a massive rule follower. He's going to go into corporate America. I'm pretty confident he'll take over my companies. And I think that the first children are always like that because you're the toughest on your first kids, right?
I'm the oldest. I'm kind of the same thing too.
Yeah.
Being tough. I had to be a role model. So. Yeah, but wow, 3 boys. 3 boys.
It's making you want to have boys. Look at you. I can see it in your face. You're like, I'm taking volunteers. Who wants to have kids with Zames Zamri? Yeah.
Oh, man. Finding the mother of my child, who knows? But, man, we're really kind of going out of here with a divine vibe here. So it's like, this is like the one last question of the vibe. So do you actually like to travel? Like, who is Jeremy Jenson outside of Houston, Texas? Like...
people give me shit because, I was in the Woodlands 2 nights ago. One of my buddies, he owns a restaurant called Amrina, which is a high-end Indian restaurant up there.
Is it the guy of the Sheik or something?
No. Oh, you're thinking of Jag Gill. No,
I am definitely thinking.
Yeah, Jag owns an airport. He owns Hooks Airport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, this guy's name's Gary. But his Indian name is Supreet, but he goes by Gary. That's his American name. But anyways,
that's such a big difference.
But with that being said, I posted that I was at the restaurant, and my buddy Stacy Efaw, he was like, "Look at Jeremy getting his passport, finally getting out of Houston." Right? But here's the struggle that I have with traveling.
Okay.
Is let's say I go to Vegas. I go to Vegas twice a year, maybe. Miami once a year, New York, once every 2 years. And so I get out a little bit. I very rarely use my passport to get out of the country. I was in Cabo in May for one of my best friend's weddings. But if I'm in Vegas and I go to a club, in order to be anything of any importance, I probably got to drop at least 10 grand, right? Okay. It's reasonable.
Yeah.
Maybe I bring 1 or 2 buddies with me to chop it.
Can you write it off Encore search partners?
Of course. Don't tell my CPA. But you're vying for attention, right? You're almost purchasing it. And it's really unfortunate that that's the way that society is. And granted, I realize that there's a lot of people that travel in order to like decompress and chill. I don't really need to escape Houston in order to chill because I actually like my life.
Yeah, yeah. That's why.
For
That's
me,
why I kinda
chilling
see it.
is like hanging out with my kids, right? That's how I chill. Going to a fucking Dynamo game or a SaberCats game or something like that. But if I go to Vegas, I got to spend 10, 20 grand just to be anybody important, right?
Yeah, like feeling it, like single and kind of like we're talking about like if you had no kids, you had this type of wealth, would you be a different Jeremy? Like, yeah, go top 10, 10
No,
grand.
not at all.
Oh, you still
because-
be the same guy.
No, because the truth of the matter is, you know, fortunately in 2019 when I created an Instagram, I utilized the same strategy that I used to build my LinkedIn following, and I started doing it on Instagram. And I created a pretty, you know, sizable local following, right? And so I like going to restaurants and people know me. I like going to bars and
It's
people
like a
know
little
me.
local
And so-
celebrity. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, D-list, maybe, right?
D-list.
But whenever you have that,
No, you're the goat, man. You're the goat.
yeah, but whenever you have that social clout, let's say, it's like, why the fuck would I want to go to Cabo? Why would I want to go to Cancun?
You're
right?
you're so well respected
Yeah,
here.
let me invite some people out and we'll go to Zante or we'll go to Clarkwood or we'll go to Best Regards, right? Get a crew together. You got 15 people. You're thriving, you're vibing, you're having fun, and we bring fucking Tulum to fucking 11th Street, dude. Well, there's no reason to go to Tulum. You're good. You got a nice house. You bring them back to the house, do a little
I'm
after
thinking
party.
about All White's affair because of 11th Street. Oh no, that's
Yeah.
19th Street.
Yeah, 19th and then White Oak. Yeah,
That's
that's
it?
White Linen Night.
Oh.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying,
I
right?
totally get what you're
We'll
saying.
bring the vacation to Houston, dude.
Oh man,
Because I'm the vacation.
I like that motto.
Yeah.
I like that motto.
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
I'm gonna put that in my phone book. And say, I'm the vacation. Jeremy, I'm the vacation.
I'm the vacation. That's good.
Oh man, wow, Jeremy, it's been an absolute pleasure and having lots of laugh. We got us some golden nuggets about, and we got really deep into it. But how I always like to end the episode with my guests is like if there was one quote, one motto, or one advice you would like to give our listeners and viewers about this, like how they want to thrive and vibe like you,
Yeah.
what would that be?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway that people need to have is to don't be afraid to shoot your shot, dude. And I think that applies to so many different things in life, right? So if you're in business development, right? So you've been an SDR before.
Yeah, and now I'm a territory manager.
Yeah, but the point is like you just got to grow fucking balls and call that CEO, call that CFO, that CTO, ask him for the business, know your product, right? Be confident in your product or service, and just shoot your shot.
Sometimes
That
they don't
applies.
they don't give a shit about the product. Well, I've noticed
Yeah.
they buy you, they buy your energy.
Well, there
first.
you go.
Yeah.
Well, you're creating the very perfect segue to how it applies to dating life too, right? Shoot your shot. You know, you think that girl's out of your league? Who gives a fuck, right? If she tells you no, she's not gonna blast you. She's not gonna like mock you and post you all over social media and go, "Can you believe James Emery asked me out? The audacity, of this motherfucker."
Well,
No, shoot your shot,
Yeah.
dude. Shoot your shot, you know, because you might be surprised at somebody that's just, wow, I like his confidence, right? Maybe she didn't even give a shit about the product. She just likes the confidence. She's buying you, right?
Yeah.
You never know what they want to buy or why they want to buy it. And so I think it's important to recognize that, you know, you just got to shoot your shot because if you don't ask, you're never going to get.
same thing with starting your business, shooting your shot into business. I'm pretty sure you were, well, you say you weren't really risk averse, you weren't really afraid because you, and in that sense. But for a lot of businesses or a lot of entrepreneurs, even myself, I was excited, but yet also very scared to even start this podcast. But the intense desire for me to start the podcast was a lot more bigger than my fear. Then I was like, fuck it, let's go.
Because you know why? You thought about what it could be,
I did.
not what it couldn't be.
Yes.
Right? That optimism, that fearless optimism of what could be, I think is critically important in life. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. All right. Well, Jeremy, it's been an absolute pleasure. And of course, oh yeah, one more thing. how would our viewers and listeners follow you?
Yeah, just hit me up on Instagram. It's my name, Jeremy Jenson, Jeremy Jenson.
Yep. And that's the same thing, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Absolutely.
And also, I know you have a podcast too as well. It's called...
It's called The Path to Success. You can access it through my personal Instagram.
Awesome. All right. Well, Jeremy, thank you very much. And hope you have a great rest of your day. And guys, hope you guys are thriving, vibing, and stay tuned. Hey guys, James Zammer here, the founder and host of the Thrive and Vibe podcast. Hope you guys really enjoyed that recent episode. And if you want to listen to that episode, it's available on Spotify, Apple Music, and Google, and all other podcasts or platforms that you may actually chime into. And if you really want to know more about Thrive and Vibe, or even just find some very cool golden nuggets or funny parts in that recent episode or any of the different episodes, check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts as well. Again, through the Thrive and Vibe podcast. And of course, please like, follow, subscribe. It will help with the algorithm so I can bring on more interesting guests and provide more meaningful content for you guys. So hope you guys are thriving, vibing. Peace.